I am so thrilled to be able to welcome Luke and Jessie to this little Zoom interview in this week when we're thinking about creativity in our series, A Heart for the City. So I thought it'd be great to be able to interview Luke and Jessie as being an amazing pair of creatives. What I thought would be good would be just to kind of rapid fire some questions. Luke, can you tell me your favorite animal, please?
Used to be wolves, now it's dogs.
Great. And Jessie?
Dogs, all the way.
Okay, brilliant. Favorite sport?
Running.
I would say dance is a sport, so dance.
Brilliant. Favorite color?
Blue.
Blue.
Oh, there we go. Excellent. Blue wall behind you as well. Favorite time of year?
Winter.
Autumn.
Favorite film?
Too long a question to ask here. Most of them.
I really like. Oh, Kingsman. Yes.
Favorite Christian film? The Shack. There you go.
Okay. Brilliant. Favorite food?
Fish and chips.
A really nice salad with nice like chicken and balsamic glaze and like nice bits. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Love the fish and chips as well. And favorite building?
I love this building in Birmingham called the Birmingham Library. It's a very pretty building.
There's a place in London called the Emmanuel Centre, and it's got Revelation 21 around the roof of it, and it's just extraordinary. So that's my favorite.
That sounds great. Let's look at that. Favorite piece of music?
I forgot what it's called. It's Priceless by For King and Country.
And right now, my favorite piece of music is probably. I just look like I've done a big fart. Like that's how many musics are in my mind right now.
The music one is a lot like the film one for me, for Jess. It's just, there's too many things to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to pass on that. It's too exciting.
Favorite book of the Bible?
Acts, definitely Acts.
I'm going to go controversial and say Job because there's some really good bits in that.
Okay, good. Interesting. Favorite verse from the Bible?
Psalm 150, let everything that has breath praise the Lord.
Jesus wept, I think is mine.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Okay, that's great. Little snapshot, and so much that people will now want to ask you when they next connect with you.
Like music.
So we're going to move now to some questions about what it means to be creative. So first question, how and when did you discover that you had creative gifts and passion? Who wants to look?
So in my family, my mum is a teacher, but she loves amateur dramatics and loves music. And my dad was a BBC editor. And so I kind of grew up around the stage and theatre and acting and filmmaking and editing and such. And so I was just kind of a bit stubborn. I was like, I could do this. I could try this out. And then I just caught the bug. And it was just something that felt really natural to do, is just to want to make things and want to showcase just beauty in creativity. And so it sort of just, I wouldn't say I discovered it. It just sort of happened naturally, like a door opening. Just you start the door opening and suddenly there's a gush of fresh air from outside that comes in.
And it made sense to you, didn't it?
It did,
in
yeah.
Your mind.
It made sense to me, and that's how it felt, yeah.
Brilliant, great.
And for me, I grew up with very, very creative parents. They weren't always given the same opportunities I grew up having. So they were always like, there's music lessons, let's go to them, let's do dance lessons. And then my one time I did ballet, I got kicked out because I was too chatty and I was a bit boisterous, and I still am. And I have since been kicked out of many of those types of creative things. But I remember when we moved to the UK, I said to my mum, I want to be a sinner when I grow up. And she was like, darling, we're all sinners. I said, no, we're sinner, you know. And this was me about 5-6 years old. And then from there, it was, I wanted to be part-time horse rider, artist, and singer. So I'd always also, like Luke, grown up with just creativity always being a part of life. And I really learned a lot from a very young age about God, the creator. And I really understood that he had made us creative. as a result of, being made in his own image. And so it was just as Luke said, really, it just became a part of me that had always been there.
Yeah.
Great. And how have you been helped to develop your creative gifts?
My mum was the first person to help develop my creative gifts. She did amateur dramatics, which is basically when you take a professional show and then like an amateur crew and actors do it. And we were doing Little Shop of Horrors, and they needed someone to be the kid in the dentist chair that the dentist comes over and like, it's normally a doll because it's normally a girl, but in my case, it was a teddy, and ripped the teddy bear's head off. And so that's how I started it. And I did a bit of acting, and then I learned how to do dancing. And then I went to school and just really wanted to follow and do video making and become a director and edit things. And so I then started studying that. And then I found a mentor with my boss, who's named Pit Piper, lovely guy, great Christian. And he really just took me under his wing and really taught me the ropes and gave me the opportunities. And since then, I've just been able to grow and develop, and I've met more people in the film industry who's really developed me and grown me, like Yamanation Studios in Birmingham, and just really given me those opportunities. So people have really come alongside me and just encouraged and given me the chances just to try and just to try and move forwards. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I think for me, it's been a lot of, I was very inspired by my uncle at a young age, who was an amazing guitarist, still is. He's not dead, which is great. That's a whole other part of my story. And he's just really inspiring at a very young age. Whenever we'd come to New Wine particularly, so we'd come back to the UK every summer, go to New Wine, and Tobes, my uncle, would be there and he'd be strumming the guitar, and I always said I want to play a guitar like him. So one year they finally bought me a guitar, and I don't remember where we were living at that time, but I just knew that right there and then this was going to be a really big part of me. And along the way, Tobes was kind of, whenever he would come by, we lived in very different parts of the world, but whenever he was around, he'd teach me songs. My first song I ever learned that I thought was like the key song of life was Blessed Be Your Name by Matt Redman. And I've still got the original transcription of Tobes's handwriting all over it and stuff like that. And so that was really a crucial part of my young development. And then over the years, I've had the privilege of meeting some incredible worship leaders and songwriters in my later years, studying singer-songwriting at music college and stuff in the mainstream world. But a lot of kind of the mentoring side of things has just been wherever the passion for what we make and what we create has brought us to. We've then just opened ourselves to the relationships of those around us. I think we could probably say that about both of us, really. Yeah. We really value the fact that we don't know anything. Yeah. And to be the person in the room that is the least knowledgeable is a real blessing. Yeah. Because it means that there are so many things that we can learn from other people.
There's so many opportunities to step up and just do it if you're at that beginning stage.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And people really value that, I think.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What creative project have you most enjoyed and why?
I made 2 feature documentaries last year. That's the one I've definitely enjoyed the most, because it was my Pip said to me, "Oh, we don't have an editor for these 2 feature films we've been working on. We filmed all the stuff, just no one can edit it." And then I was just cocky in the corner and just went, "I can edit it." And then he took me up on it. And then so for the last year, I've been editing these two feature documentaries, and they did really well. And were really well in like the independent scene. And it was such an incredible challenge and such an incredible time of learning and growing. And my skills have become so much better since the beginning of that process than now to here. So I definitely enjoyed that the most, even though it was quite challenging at times. Yeah.
Great.
I think my most enjoyable project was probably my first album that I released in May 2019, and that was a whole year of building up, of writing. And then I went to my godfather, actually. So talk about people who've really come by you during your creative process of learning and growing. But he's a really gifted producer who we lived with for a season, and he's just really been supportive this whole time of life in providing guitar lessons and things like that for me personally. So we ended up recording this 13-track album in the end, and I'd spent during that kind of 9-month period of recording and kind of working on the promotional side of things in 2018 to 2019, I went on a 2.5-month tour that I'd independently set up in New Zealand and Australia. And that was an incredible part of life that I will always hold quite tightly to my heart, just because we just started dating, and it all felt really weird, me going off to Australia, because we'd been talking about it a while. But it was something that I really felt compelled to do. Just as we kind of felt compelled to go to Cardiff, it was the fact that I didn't know what was out there in Australia. And the only way I could learn about what God was doing there and what he wanted me to do there was to just go over there. And that's kind of the same premise of us moving to Cardiff, really.
Yeah.
So that was a really key part of my career so far too. I really loved that.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. What creative projects are you most excited about right now?
I think going off of what Jess was saying about us now moving to Cardiff and just taking that leap forwards, I think creatively we did this also for creative reasons, because we just really wanted to be able to create more together. And so one of the things we're doing, which I'm quite excited about, is we're trying to do more YouTube vlogs and kind of documenting our life online and kind of growing that kind of identity of we are Luke and Jess and Jessie and Luke and Dippage and Jess's used to be named Jessie Dipper. So mash the two surnames together. And so I'm really excited about that and what that could mean for us, and just being able to explore more creative avenues away from the old way of us doing life with our parents and with different priorities and such. So there's a lot of challenges coming up ahead, but I think that's the most exciting thing, that we're now in a city where we can just let that creativity run loose and be able to use it from the simplest things of making our own content to the biggest of clients. And the most amazing of churches too.
Yeah. So
great.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wanted to add, Jessie? Or?
Well, one thing that I've been working on is I've since the album was previously released in May 2019, someone's got in touch with me who works across London and New York, and he's got a lot of connections within all sorts of record labels and things like that. But anyway, he ended up getting in contact with me. And so that's one thing that I'm really, really excited about at the moment. It's been a long process. And at the moment, I even had a call with him this morning, and we were just talking about the fact that in a normal day and age without COVID, I'd be on tour right now across the country. We were looking at doing another Australia tour that was a bit more official. And obviously, in such a time as this, everything's changed. But I'm really excited about what the potential is for this, because it means that I'm trying to get to another level of being not just an independent artist who, is a Christian as well as like a pop rock writer, but is also actually predominantly someone who works in the mainstream world. And it isn't that I'm a Christian that sets me apart. It's the fact that I'm writing from truthful stories, and I'm writing and communicating truth. And for me, that excites me more than ever, because God can use that status and use that influence in incredible ways, and people won't even know it. And so I'm excited about what these songs are going to do. But it's a long process.
It's a very good album, by the way, as well. Just hasn't said that, but the songs are incredible. And so it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
Luke and Jessie, it is so great to have you in Cardiff. And we're so looking forward to working together, partnering together, and just enjoying this journey together. So that's been a brilliant introduction. And thank you very much.
Thank you.